All right. Good um good evening everybody. So basically today is just another episode of me trying to just learn one or two things, right? And then I'll be sharing the stuff I'm going to be learning, right? With everybody. So if you're just joining for the very first time, right? My name is Oluwashitemi Ojo, right? People call me Ojo, right? Some persons call me Shitemi, right? Or Temi, or yeah, whatever works for you. So I do talk about JavaScript, right? I'm heavily involved with teaching and training people regarding JavaScript, and I work full time as a software engineer, right? So you're welcome to my YouTube channel, right? This particular streaming goes live on I think Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube, right? But you can always catch. I think the replays are always on the three channels majorly, right? And the focus is to just just learn. So it's my own effort to learn that I'm just sharing with the whole world. And yesterday I did some introduction stuff into rest and spread, rest parameters and spread operators. So I dedicate Fridays to talk about JavaScript, and I dedicate Saturdays to talk about React, Nextjs kind of stuff. So the focus today is around Nextjs, Tailwind, and some other interesting cool technologies that we might be working with along the line. So welcome again once more, right? If you're just joining for the very first time, thank you so much for joining. And for the OGs that have been joining for a while now, thank you so much. So we could just quickly get right into it. I'm just going to share my screen, and because there's a lot of code to write today. Yeah, there's a lot of code to write today. So this is our current this is where we stopped the other time. So I'm just going to bring my IDE, and I'm going to bring my IDE into the scene. Move my IDE into the scene. So here, this is the project that we will be working with. Right. I mean, what even this is a project that we're going to be working with. Um, it's a Next.js scaffolded project. It was scaffolded with Create Next app, the app router version. This is the TypeScript config. This is Tailwind because we are using Tailwind as well behind the scene. This is the Tailwind configuration. And Tailwind is going to be applied to all the things inside pages, all the things inside components, and any other CSS, any other Tailwind CSS configuration that the engine picks up inside the app folder, right? And this is our README as well. So the README contains like some of the things that we intend to work on, right? And the post CSS config, right? We don't have anything much here yet. Yeah, these are some of the packages that we have installed, right? We have TypeScript node, the types, React and React DOM, post CSS, Tailwind, ESLint, and ESLint config. Next, right? The three major dependencies that we have is this. We should have more than this though. I think we should have more than this. We should have the hero icons. I think I'm going to install some other things today, basically, right? Which will serve as like the basis, right? And then For next config, we don't have anything yet here. And yeah, so inside component, I have some predefined components already that we can work with. So most of these components actually uses something called headless UI, right? React headless UI. Um, and basically most of them uses headless UI or an hero icons. I think there's some of them that have hero icons. I think there should be hero icons here. Okay, there should be hero icons here. Welcome, worries. Yeah, there should be. Yeah, I'm also going to be using a little bit of Framer motion, right? And I know we're also going to need some form of hero icons depending on. But these components are just it's just to help me to move a little bit faster so that I can just go straight to implementation, right? The goal is just to implement majorly. The goal is to implement something, not just like writing all of these things from scratch. So that's the goal right here. So I'm just showing you the code for all of these. I'm not sure whether I've pushed this code to GitHub, but I'm gonna push them to GitHub, and anybody who wants them can just like, you should be able to just use them if you want to, use them. So yeah, this is just what we have, right? Just what we have set up. So we'll also set up some other interesting things today, right? And this is just basic CSS tailwind setup, not anything serious. And yeah, that should be all that we have in this setup. So if you look at the README again, right, we want to work on a landing page, a registration page, a login page. I forgot password. So I'm hoping that, I mean, if I can clear out these 4 pages today, right? I just hope I can just clear them out today, because I'm not going to be building anything majorly from like the scratch. I have some of these components already, so I'm just going to be copy pasting and adjusting, right? And then we also want to build like a dashboard, right, as well. And these were the design inspirations that we sort of like used to arrive at this place. um the goal of those design inspiration is that we wanted to build some e-commerce kind of project. I wanted to build like an e-commerce we wanted to build like an e-commerce kind of project, right? So we considered this milk makeup, right, as one of the, it's just a e-commerce platform that I just wanted to like build something that can work for an e-commerce project. But I think we went for the second design inspiration, which is the facial skin, right? That's the one that we eventually picked. So the facial skin has this is the one that we picked here. So I'm not definitely going to just copy and build everything according to this platform, but most of the time I'll just try to make sure that at least we can, it looks, I mean, I also want to retain some creativity one way or the other. And this is cool though. All right. So, but the goal is that most of the functionality that they do have is what we intend to kind of like work on, right? That's my goal, right? I mean, it's an online e-commerce platform, right? It has different routes that does, different things, right? It has the whole e-commerce setup where you can log in, right? This is their login and sign up, right? And if you see, their login and sign up still has a footer, and it has their full navigation at the top, right? Which is something to pay attention to. Then we also have this route, right, called gift setup. We have quiz, right? Um, they have internationalization, but I'm not sure whether we should build internationalization. I think they have just internationalization for two. Maybe this might not be internationalization. Don't let me assume. But they have a different platform for US and Canada. And Canada also has French and it has French and um, it has French and English, which is some form of internationalization, right? But I'm not sure we're going to do something like that, right? We'll just probably stick with. This is cool, right? We'll probably just stick with just English for now. But it would have been cool to be able to build this feature in, right? To build this internationalization. For those who don't know what internationalization means, right? It's just the ability of a particular site to be able to respond to the local language or the context language, right, of a particular country, right? If you are within maybe China, right, you being able to your website being able to adjust to the local language there, right? So, and I think there are big internationalization packages that can also help or assist one way or the other, because internationalization is like I18N. Nextjs is a big deal, right? Internationalization is a big deal, right? Within the whole space here. So you have Nextjs internationalization package, or you can also read about their advice on internationalization right there. So you can use either these different solutions depending on whatever solution you want to use. I mean, it would have been good to be able to think about how to do this, right? But I don't think it's a problem yet. So I'm not going to focus so much on that. And I think the major thing today is just to get deeper more into these basic routes, most especially the focus for me, which I want to see. Um, I'm not going to do the landing today, but let me see if I can at least get these three things working. The the register page, then the login page, the forgot password, and the reset password page. So that is the goal for today. Thank you for joining, right? And I hope you're going to learn one or two things, right, alongside the journey. And I don't know how long it's going to take me. I can't say how long this would take me, but it promised to be an exciting ride. So let's see. Let's get the server started. And before I get the server started, I need to install some things. I need to get some things installed. I need to install some packages just to make the whole thing. For those who don't know what headless UI is, headless UI is something that looks like this. So you can always check headless UI out, right? I think it's open on GitHub as well. It's a open package on GitHub where you can monitor all the things that is happening there. And I think the size is not bad. This is 104 megabytes, right? It's not bad. In the hand, the size is not too bad. Let's say it is not too bad. It's not too bad. And it's something that detail is a package completely built by the Tailwind team. That's the headless UI. It's completely built by the Tailwind team. So it's just and I mean it's just to help you to just, since you're using Tailwind, to just help us to just stay within the Tailwind ecosystem, right? There's one that was just released recently, which is .ui. .ui was just released, I think, on Friday. Was it on Friday? But let me see whether it was. Is this what was released on Friday? .ui. It was just released recently. Yeah, .ui. Right. So just released recently. Okay. So I know that they will still be working on everything that they are working on. And this is also using this uses what's it using behind the scene? React area, right? It's using React area behind the scene. It's using React area behind the scene. So I mean the goal of all these components majorly is just to make life easy. It's just to make your work, the work of engineers, a little bit easy and a little bit smooth. So that you don't have to do so many things on your own, right? But you can rely on, I think this is also Tailwind first. So I think they're also a Tailwind first package, right? They're using a Tailwind first package. So I mean it's not bad. I don't think it's anything bad. All right. But there are a lot of packages out there in terms of how and what you can do, right, regarding if there's any need to decide to use anyone that you're very comfortable with. But I know that they heavily use React area behind the scene. They heavily use React area behind the scene. And React area is just for anybody who wants to get into the space of UIs, understanding everything about UI. This is the best package that you can. It's also open on GitHub as well. You can view everything that is happening on GitHub, right? If you want to learn about everything that is happening, right? How they are making the codes, how they are writing the codes, and all the new features that they are working on. So going into packages like this helps us to learn how things are being done, right? Because it is important for us as engineers, most especially people who like write code, to know how some things are done regarding like UI and all. So, but the focus obviously for React area is accessibility. That's like their major internationalization, accessibility and stylability and all these other things. So .ui will be something to watch out for, right? If you really want to use all the cool things that they also have. This is the first time I'm also checking it anyways, but I heard about it recently, so that's why I know about it. Um, see, back to, so I'm going to install inside my code base here. That's my terminal. My terminal. Yeah, I'm just going to install. I think I'm using. Let's see, ls. I'm using npm, so it's going to be npm install headless UI / React. I'm also going to be using Prima Motion, and I'm also going to use CLX, right? And I want to use Euro icons. I also want to use Euro icons. So these are all of the three things that I will be using majorly. So with that, we can get started. And another thing I should also say is that if you don't know some things before, most especially for you to like be able to follow and understand what I'm trying to do, your React is there's a necessity for you to have some basic understanding of React, right? At least basically. So let's see here. Let's start the server npm. Let's just do dev. Let's do dev, and yeah, we should have a server running. Mm, So I'm just going to copy some code. Let's just see. I'm just going to copy some React code and dump somewhere. Let's just copy something that I think I can use. All right. So I'm also thinking that I'm going to use a lot of copying just to get me to be able to move a little bit fast. Yeah, so um this is the this is the working setup. So this is going to be for the landing page here. So this page here is for the landing page, right? So would have just right click and say new file, and I can say authentication. But I don't want authentication to become a folder, so I can say authentication, and I can say / login, and we can say / page dot tsx, right? And I think I could just paste something here, right? This is a lot of stuff. Let's just do this. So I'm also going to need tailwind forms for everything to work. I'm going to show you what I just copy and pasted, right? It's still tailwind like. I'll walk you through all of the things that all of the things I just have here. So let's first see whether the new route is able to work. So there should be something on / login, but it should not work. That it should run into some problems. Okay, so yeah, this is just basic stuff, right? This is I didn't know it was going to work. I still need to install something. So what I can do, I'm still going to change this input into my own particular input, but I guess this is something I can work with. I mean, this works, right? I'm just going to clean it up so for those who don't have an idea and understanding of what is going on behind the scene, basically, here I'll just walk us through, right? Walk us through largely what's up here, right? So basically this logo here is the Tailwind logo, right? Which I'm just going to I'm going to find a logo that I can use, right? Pending the time I get that. So and the text here is a H2, right? And so this is also responsive, right? Because we have flex, right? And it is using like the minimum width is the full screen, and we're setting flex value and column as well. We're making sure it's in the center. There's a padding along the y-axis, And there's also a padding when we move to the small screen. When we are on the large screen, there's a padding of 8, right? And the same thing here. These all the things here will only show, right? It's supposed to only show, right, when we are what? It should only show, right, with what? When we have this particular on small screen, right? That's when this whole thing is supposed to what to kick in there. So and then you have the image right here, and then you have this sign into your account here. And when you look at this one as well, this is margin top of 10. Margin top of 10 is, I think, should be 10 times, I think, 1.25. Yeah, it should be what? Let's see what margin top 10 is. That's 40 pixel or 2.5. 2.5. I know is it one, is it 0.4 like that, or 1.4? I can't remember what that is. So you have margin top of 2.5 RAM, right? And then when you get a small screen, you are centralizing so that you are trying to make sure that there is margin auto on the left and right side of things. And then you also have all of this here. And also this specifies that when we get to small screens, we are forcing our max width to be what? To be 480 pixel, right? And we have the background of white, right? And a padding along the x-axis. I say along the x-axis, which is what? Horizontal ground, along the horizontal ground, like left and right side of 6, which is supposed to be around 1.5, right? 1.5 rem. And you also have padding top and bottom to be what? To be 3 rem. And this is just specifying some shadows, right, along, which is box shadow majorly, but it is being controlled by this variable. So it declares first this variable called tw hyphen shadow, right, and tw shadow hyphen colored, right, and we are using that variable. So there's a fallback. We're using a fallback of what? Of this 0, 1 pixel, right? And we're setting this box shadow, right? And this hyphen tw ring offset shadow as well is another variable inside of tailwind in itself. And this hyphen double hyphen tw ring shadow as well is also a variable that we are trying to also set. But the major thing is that the box shadow will have 0 pixel, 1 pixel, and 3 pixel, which is what? Left, right. That's how do we call it now? Left, 12 o'clock, clockwise now. It's supposed to be clockwise. Top, left, top, right, and bottom, right? That's the measurement of this shadow, right? So it's going to be on the left side 0 shadow, 0 pixel, right? At the top 1 pixel, right? On the right hand side 3 pixel, and on the bottom 0 pixel. And the value of the color that we're using is just, I think it's still black, but it's a black that has a opacity of what? Of 0.1, right? And I think it is this is a double value, right? So it's going to have another shadow. So it's going to combine these two shadows of this first and this here. So, and this is sometimes why for me, yeah, it should be top right. It's not, it shouldn't be top. Is it supposed to be top right, bottom left? Yeah, I think it should be top right, bottom left. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. It should be top right, bottom left. Just your normal clockwise, just your normal 12, 1, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 p.m. Yeah, it's clockwise. Thanks for pointing that out. Then you have rounded, which is for border radius, right? And then we have pixel. So tailwind allow us to just move very fast, to be honest. That's that's just the baseline. You kind of like, you can just move very fast, and you don't focus so much on, fighting CSS and writing class names and all these other things. These things are just been they've been done and written a million times before. So you're just going to, just copy it and use it to your own benefit. So we have the label. I'm still going to change this label and this input later, but not yet. At least for me to have something that I can work with here. So we have this inside of this input, you have email, right? The autocomplete for email, right? And we also have all of these CSS here. So I mean, you can hover on them. If you hover on them, display block, full width, rounded, right? And then border of what, 0 pixel, border width of 0 pixel, right? And you're having what, the padding top and bottom, right? That is what, top and bottom of 0.37 rem. And the color is gray. I don't know what the theme color is going to be. I'm not sure what my colors are going to be like for this project. I don't know yet. And this is box shadow as well, but it's a small shadow. Then this is a ring-like effect, right? And then a ring-like effect that creates inset. Inset is just like an extra shadow, sort of like an extra shadow around the current shadow. And then the color of the ring round that is showing in the shadow is going to be what, gray. And the gray color level is going to be 300. Then the color of the placeholder should be what, have this value. Then when you focus on the input, so if we go to that page, let's see, if we focus on there, right? I mean, if you focus there, you can see the extra thick blue extra. There's this very thick blue blue thing around around the input. And part of the reasons why I said I'm still going to readjust it is that we'll need error, we'll still need like a full input for error, right? We'll still need like something to handle error and all these other things that we want to handle, right? Depends on that. So, and then this is the one for password, right? And HTML4 and the ID are connected together, right? And the autocomplete of what's current password. Yeah. And once that is done, we then have this one here, which is to remember. The value of this here is to remember me, right? If you click the remember me here, and we have the URL here. So we're also going to change this as well so that we can route this to the right place. And this is the button to submit the whole thing. And would still move this button out of this place as well, because I'd love this button to be a component on its own later on, so that we can use a hook on that button. There's this hook for us to know the status of a form action, right? Whether it is done or not done, right there. So, and let's see here. So these other ones here are just the next things here immediately after this button here. So we have alternative signing, whether we are using Google or we are using GitHub. I mean, I think it would be cool to use another form of authentication. So for those who are just joining, I'm going to be using Hot.js. I think I should use Hot.js. So this is what I'm going to use, but I would want to use not just the normal sign in and sign up. I would also love to use what's this other one? There is this other kind of authentication that they have. magic links. There is the magic links. There is this new modern authentication that is, yes, this web authentication, this pass key. I want to also know how to use pass keys. So um I would also try to so maybe what I would do is that if I want to if I want to use Magic Link, the way Magic Link works is that you just put one input there, which is email. So somebody types in their email and you click login, and it sends you a email that you can click on to carry out the authentication, right? So probably would just maybe what I'll do is I'll probably maybe probably put a tab somewhere here. Maybe I'm probably going to implement a tab somewhere here so that I can switch between the normal authentication and the magic link. How will I do that? I'm not sure how that will work. That's something to think about. I need to think about how that will work. So for the Google sign up link, right? This is this is the O the SVG for, yes, this is the SVG for, let's I think let me check something on GitHub. That's true. Because I know that GitHub has lots of ways to sign into GitHub. There's a lot of ways to sign into GitHub. So if you want to sign in, where's the sign in? How can I sign into GitHub? Where's sign in button? Okay. Let's see. The sign in. So they have. Okay. So this is what we'll do here. We'll just say maybe email or sign in with a pass key, or we can put another hold here. Sign in with magic links. Okay, I think this whole thing works here. Just put this divider and we put this text in between, and we can click a sign in with pass key. All right. So that's going to work. That's going to work. So probably we'll just shift all of these things up a little bit. So because or I'm going to reduce the padding. Yeah, it should work. It should work that way. Because I'm just going to use this approach or sign in with pass key button, right? But we need to make it's not going to be it's not going to be a primary action, because this one here is a primary action. The sign in here is a primary action, but these other ones here, they are secondary actions, right? It's like a secondary button, and that's why there is less emphasis on them, right? And likewise, here, this is the primary action. Every other thing here, they are secondary, right? This is a secondary, not the main thing there. So that is, I mean, that works. So this is the SVG for the Google, right? The SVG for the Google, and this is this is the Google thing there. And this is the GitHub thing. This is the SVG for the GitHub thing. And I'd love to put all these things inside one. Let me see whether hero icons has. Let me check something on hero icons. Uh, does hero icons have GitHub? Hero icons. /react. Is it /react? Do they have GitHub? don't think they have GitHub or Google. Okay, they don't have. Mm, let's see. Mm, let's see. How do I get the React? How do I get the React? How do I get the React version of these hero icons? Uh, how do I get the React version of this? No, I don't want to use so many icons like that because I just want to stick with one icons service. Uh, yeah, I just want to stick with one icon service basically. Right. Icon set is a package, right? This is another package on its own, right? Miriam. All right. If it's another package on its own, probably will just stick to this one. Um, Icon set a package on its own. Hmm. Yeah, that's what I don't want. Putting the SVG in the code base sort of always makes the code base a little bit. And most times, if I want to reuse it, I'd have to still just recreate it again, one way or the other. So I probably would just do something like this. Let's just do function GitHub icon, right? And we can just do return. Just put. I think we can just put the SVG in here, and no, I don't even want the download as well. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that. Hmm, because the concern is that or yeah, if I bring in Google here, I think it's supposed to be Google. I'm supposed to name it Google, and I named it what did I name it here? Let's just say Google icon, and Google icon. And so now I could just put export here, right? I can put export here and it becomes something I can reuse easily rather than having to GitHub, having to re-download and reuse multiple times. And then we can drag the whole where's the other SVG? We can drag the other SVG inside of this place. Just cut it out. And then we can do GitHub icon. And we have this. We can do a return. And we can do a return there. Then we can specify what and what later. And I think this logo as well. I'm just going to keep Tailwind logo for now, but it's something I would also need to find an alternative for so that I can have another logo here to just call this logo. Let's just say logo export function logo, and we can just do this here, and we can do a return here. I'd have loved to put this inside a fragment. Yeah, I'd have loved to put that inside a fragment. Can't I use a fragment here? Oh, sorry. That would have been right. Return function, export function. I think that is fine. We can then put put the whole thing here. Logo, and yeah, we can put the whole thing there. And so we can just reuse. We could just reuse everything. It's still the way it is. Just some readjustment. So for the buttons, now I'm going to use my own button. So I have a button here that I'm going to be using, which is a more generic button. All right. It's Stanley on the stream. Does anybody know any color palette? Does anybody has any color palette? Any website for any color palette? I want to pick a theme, but I don't know how. I need a color palette to guide me. I need a color palette to guide me in that regards. But probably need a color palette for that. So under button, so this is a button that we can use. Where's the link? So I could just color hunt. Color hunt. Let's see color hunt. This is very interesting. I need something that has white inside. Colors is the most difficult thing to think about. Just to think about colors is just so much problem. Just like to stay with white and a major primary color, but it definitely needs, now it's a real project. You need something more than just white, and you would need some primary colors and some secondary colors, as the case may be. Let's just see. They don't even have anything that has white here. Many of them have white, yeah. Okay, there's one with white. Uh, there's one with white eventually. Let's see. I'll get to colors. I'll probably dedicate some time to that later. So to really, but I think the major thing here with this button here is that this button here, that is the component here, has some, so you can specify the base, you can specify solid, right? Or you can specify outline, right? Or you can specify plane, or you can now set colors, right? Whether you want it to be these different kind of colors, right? So which is a little bit much more, it has some advantage in how we can use in how we can use um the buttons majorly. So depends on what the color I eventually choose, right? So it has lots of color inbuilt that we can just use. I would have just loved to try out all of these colors. So the button props are color, you have outline, you have plain, you have so these are the button props. These are the major props here. So I'm not just going to allow that to delay what I want to do majorly. And this is something about, and another thing is, look at, can you see this? Can you see this piece of code here? Right? This piece of code here can be so much. So this is very, very interesting, because what it is doing is that if you're on a mobile device and you're trying to touch the button and it's not touching, right? How many of you have seen sites like that, that you're trying to touch a particular button on a mobile device and it's not touching very well because you don't have so much, space, right? But by default, the way this component is built to have the touch targets, right? So it means that by default, it will at least be clickable within this height and width. And this is, even me, I don't know all of this before now, but that's something when you learn from other person's code, you will understand that there's a lot that, that is going on within. So by putting this touch target within this button now, it automatically makes it a little bit much more, like, think if you look at the CSS here, absolute, what is left? Okay, I mean, this is just likely trying to center it majorly. It's trying to center it. Please give me some minutes. All right. Hey, sorry. Can you hear me now? Oh, I've been speaking without unmuting my mic. My apologies. My apologies. But you should be able to hear me now. Hmm. So here we could just import all of these here, which is import from at, I think it's supposed to be at / component and buttons. We should be able to do buttons, and inside of there we should be able to do buttons, right? And once we have button there, we can then wrap this with at buttons, and we can say href is equals to href of this is equals to / right? And then we can see that this is this here, and yeah, and I think it's just as basic as that, right? To bring in that whole thing. And if we have this here, and I think this should be, the logo should be clickable. Let's see, let's just refresh this. Right, it has added some extra css that I don't want, but I can take out the css later, right? So I'll still take out this. It has, I think it's centralized the whole thing. Uh, so, which is, I don't want that behavior. I probably would just use, I'll just use a next link here. By default, I can't have that doing that there for me. I will just use it here. So here, the whole button here would have been, let's just say button, and this here is a sign in, and it's supposed to be base. I think we're supposed to set a base prop. Is it base now? Let me confirm what the prop is supposed to be. But I know color should be indigo, right? We can do indigo, right? And yeah, we should have something like that. All right. So yeah, this is it here. So if we hover on it, so we could just make it a little bit, just make it to take the whole full space, right? With the class name, pick the available space. I think if we give it flex and width full, that should be enough to take the whole full space. Yeah, that should be enough to take the whole full space. And I'm not sure whether we would need to justify this just to put it in the center. Let me confirm something. When you hover, Is there any difference between the indigo? I mean, there's a difference, right? Just this becomes lighter basically, but basically both buttons are quite similar, just doing different things. Then the hot module reload is not working the way it should work, because I've deleted this text for a while now and it's still there. I've deleted this text for a while now. What are the possible props that the button is expecting? Button is expecting button is expecting button is expecting I think if I pass color, I can pass class name children. So maybe I probably would just pass. Let's look at indigo. What we have inside indigo. The color inside indigo. So this text white, and we have yeah, this is setting the color, and I think we can also bring in an icon along, so you can also set solid. I think we should be able to set this solid. Can we set solid on the button based on the prop that this button is supposed to accept? Is solid part of, what are the values for the outline? This is very interesting. So we can set outline. Can I set solid on this? Yes. All right, I think. So if it is outline prop, the outline styles, if it is plain, the the style plain, then solid and whatever color that we combine together should be able to, I think this should be all here. And we can then take this other button out. Let me just copy let's copy this. I need some things here, right? I need from the font weight to the end. I'm going to need those ones, right? From the font weight there to this. Yeah, we can take this one out and put the rest here, right? And that works for the signing. What else on the line? So here, this A here is supposed to turn back to, we're going to use a route for, we're supposed to use, maybe, I'm not sure whether this is going to be a hey, but let's just leave this as a hey. But I am sure that this one here is supposed to point to a link. This A here should point to a link, right? The entire hey here should point to a link. So we'll just change this to is that we change it to use link from link, right? And we set this to /register, right? And this should point to a link. and we can then put the class name. Let's see the way it is without anything. Right, it's plain. Right, so once we apply the class name, right, there we can play. No. Just apply the class name, right, and everything should be back to right. Everything should be back to normal. So if you click on start a 14-day trial, goes to register. Forgot password should also route to forgot password should also route to forgot password. So this should also route us to so we can take this thing out here as well. We don't even need to take it out. Let's just take this to a link, right? Change this to a link and should be able to Samuel, welcome, and Bosse, thanks for joining. All right. So we still have the same thing. Yeah. So we want this to route us to a forgot password. Right. Should route us to a forgot password. Right. Route. So if you hover on it, it should take us to a forgot password. And we hover on it, should take us to a forgot password, right? So to take us to a forgot password. So we can then work on the forgot password, right? The forgot password is just going to need or before we do that, let me combine this email and this input into let's combine this email and this input into one thing, right? Into one input. So I'm just going to use input. Let's see if I can combine all of them into one input. So everything here now, everything we have here, right? I'm just going to combine it into one input. In we would have to do something like, so we'll bring in a field, right? Bring in a field, right? And inside of the field, we can do field. Inside of the field, we can do inside of the field, we can then do, we should have a label. So just a label exactly this, just the way this label is. So I'm just going to take this, right? Just copy this, and then we can set a label, right? I have a label inside of this place, and it's going to be for this, right? And then we can specify the class name as well. You can specify the class name as well. And we can then specify the input. Okay, so it wouldn't need this HTML. Let me think about this. So I then can bring in input from impute, and it's going to take just no, just allow me to do what I need to do. So it's just going to take name to be email. It's just going to take name to be email. Just take name to be email. And yeah, that should be all. So we can take this old class name, right, and just put alongside here. And definitely we need required. So let's just see. Do I need to put type? I think I can put type email and required. Do I need ID? I'm not sure whether I need to specify ID. Do I need to specify the ID? And also I think I can also use let's see what this brings to the page for us. Okay, so it is just still, though the input is a little bit bigger than this one, right, which I should be able to the reduce the height of the input, right? But it is not catching this label. Under this filter, the label is not doing what I expect it to do. Let's remove this one now. We can remove this entire one now because we don't need it anymore. Right. So we have this field, and yeah, we should have the email address for I think after the field, right, you can take this out, and the form, have we deleted the form? We didn't delete the form. Let's see. It's the remaining corresponding form exactly. So why are you complaining? Took this out, and then we took this div out as well. So why were you complaining? I'm going to duplicate this for the password. So it's not, this label is not working. So because of this, let me check the label. So label is supposed to be just headless label, and yeah, Yeah, it's supposed to take, if you pass it to children, yeah, it's supposed to spread the children and create. It's supposed to create this label value, but for some reason, it is not creating this label. For some reason, it's not wrapping this email address in this label. For some reason, let me inspect what is going on here. Let's inspect. The label is there, but I think there's an area hidden on it. Or the color, I think the color must have been the color. Right, label. The text is white. Is it white or gray? I think, yes, I think so. Let me just give it a different color. Let's just say, I mean, it is red. Let's just say black now. Let me see whether black will pick it. Pick it up. It's not still picking it up. Uh, yes, 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 yes. Why is the label not picking up? ID, blah, 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 class, block, font, select none, disable for okay. Okay. I think I know where the problem is. It is actually it is actually setting up this label for another element. If you look at this headless label, it's setting this for R1 and the input is set up for R0. The input is set up for R0, but I'm wondering why that is the case. Is it because there is a field here? That is why it is doing that. Or why is it set up for? Yeah, one is set up for R. It is now R, the R4 and R3. So why is it changing? Why is the input changing? Why is it changing? Area labeled by, let's see, type email required, headless state, then name should be email. That's interesting. Okay, let's do something this way. Let's bring in a field group. Let me bring in another. Let's wrap this whole field inside a field group. Let's do this called a field group. Field group, right? And we can paste everything to group everything together. So let me see whether the ID is going to, you use the label component, but it is not inside the relevant parent. Is a label outside of, is a label outside? Oh, what did I just do? Autocomplete has added some things on my behalf. And this should be field group, and that should be all. It is still not seeing the label. Oh. Not sure why, but let me check the API for the label or the input. Yeah. Or we can set, let's see. But I don't think that's the major problem for now. Let's see, for HTML, for email. Let's see whether that's the point. It's not the point. There's a way the input is behaving that is weird. Mm. The documentation says that it doesn't need this HTML4, because if I'm bringing HTML4, then I have to introduce like ID, right? I have to introduce ID to be email to be able to control, right, what is going on. Well, that's pretty very interesting. Well, I'm just going to leave this and quickly jump into something else, right? While I am going to, I just want to do, maybe I'll just do the register route. I'm just going to duplicate this whole thing that we have for the register. I'll duplicate this for the register, and I don't want to duplicate something that is not working very well. What could have been the problem here? Let me inspect it one more time with fit. Control Shift C. It's having some, let's see. Send you work. Who send you work? Who sent you work? So there is a CSS prop on this label, right? There's a opacity. There's this dark text white that is the problem here. So what would have done is that when the theme is dark theme, it sets the text to white. How do I override that behavior? Because in dark mode, it's assuming that we are in dark mode. That's why it is setting this color. Right. It's setting this color on that input. I was trying to check whether, so that would have been to so it wasn't even based on the way it wasn't the way the label was configured. Let me see something. Yeah, they are linked together, but uh I'm not sure, but I don't think I want this. All right. I'm not sure I want this dark text white. So you want dark screen. How can I readjust that default behavior? I'm thinking about how to readjust the behavior. Hmm, Probably for now, I probably will just take this out. I'm just gonna put it to do here. All right, I'm just gonna put it to do somewhere here. To do. All right, just gonna put it to do there. And I'm going to fix that issue of this text white on the label. So if you're in dark screen, you want the label to have, but I am not in dark screen. I'm not in dark screen at all. So why is it affecting what I am working on? And also for this, we should be able to set a height on this guy here. This is the form group, I think so. Let's see. So here, we should be able to do this. Yeah. So we can then maybe just tell it that, or by default, maybe what I'm going to do is by default, I probably would just set the default to be text. For dark mode, class name, I'm just going to set the default myself to, let's see what these ones are. Let's just see what these values are by default. There was a default label coming on this input before. So it has text to be black, and we want to say if it is dark mode, right? If it's dark mode, we still want the text to be black for now, right? Pending the time I fix the issue. So pending the time I fix the issue of making this field set to have we can say dark, right, text white. What was there before? Let's see what was there before. Should be text white that was there before. Right. So I'm going to fix that later with, so putting without putting without putting ID, because this label is close to the input, it should automatically link both of them together. Is there an autofocus? So it is there, and I can then duplicate. Yeah, just duplicate this here. So for the field, let's see, for field, what is the field? The field, what's it called? Field group. A field group. Yeah, just to keep all of them together. So I could just duplicate this one more time, and I'm just going to adjust it for password, right? And this would have just been password, right? And we can change block text sm leading text black. Let's just say it is black for now, and we can let's just copy all of these props into this place here. Copy all the props into this place, right? And we can discard this div, right? We can discard all of this div. So if I want to handle error messages now, I would have to add um a paragraph in between here to handle the error message. I think so. Can I set validation? Do we have any validation value here? Let's say validation. No, not that. It cannot take validation. And if we check what we have this here. The padding at the top is a bit much. The padding at the top is a bit much. But the group for the fields. Mm. So basically, I think that should be everything for now, at least. Yeah. Okay. So it is not picking up here. So I would have just done HTML4 password. This works. This still works. This is supposed to work. And then should we change the behavior? If you click on the button should have hand, right? Should add a cursor to that button, just like we are clicking something. So let's see. So I'm going to set up validation later for, we're going to set up validation later for the, but this is something basic for this. So another thing I can do is that I can extract everything here. I can extract everything here into a form, another component entirely, right? And this is going to be the form. And we can then say function login form, and we can say return this here, and right, and inside of this place we can then say this will be the login form. Yeah, this will be the login form. And also I also want to extract out, I would extract out this button later on, most especially when I want to carry out the actions. I probably want to extract out that whole process later. And I feel I can duplicate for us to have for us to get to for us to get the I can duplicate it to just have a registration. So I could just duplicate this, right? We just duplicate this and we have register. All right, can duplicate to have a register. And if we go to route register, so if you go to here, it should take us to register, which is almost the same thing that we have there. Then we can just change the heading. We can change the heading to have here to, so we don't need this Google account anymore. We don't need this logo as well anymore. We can just import these three things, right? No, not that. It should be import logo from at app / authentication / login, and we can get logo, right? Logo, comma, GitHub, and we can get Google icon. I think so. Is this supposed to be the correct path? I think this is not correct. It's supposed to be / page, right? And GitHub icon, and yeah, everything should then work. Everything still works, so we can just change. So if you're signing, if you're going to do register, it is going to be create your account. Just create your account, and we then can change this to another. Just rename this to sign up or login form, register form, and we can then adjust this later on. I'm just going to adjust this later on, but at least we have something that works there. So, and register, we can change this button as well to just change this button to register, so that we know that this is register page, right? And we can also duplicate this instantly for the forgot password flow. Just duplicate for the forgot password flow, forgot password. So forgot password is going to just be one input. So we can just call this page, and this is supposed to just be let's say forgot password, right? And yeah, we can just rename this as well to forgot password and inside the forgot password we only need the email, right? We only need the email, and we don't need every other thing, right? Every other thing inside, we don't need them. We don't need this. Let's see. We don't need this here. We don't need this here. And this one will be reset password. Set password. No, it's not supposed to. It won't be reset password, but it will submit. I think it should. Ordinary submit should work. Or let's say reset. Let's just put reset there for now. And yeah, we can. We don't need all these other means of sign up. I'm not sure we need them. Not sure we need them anymore. Let's just open a div and that should be everything. So if you go to forgot password, we should have a small flow for the forgot password. And the last one that we want to work on, okay. So I have some of my students from Oluwatobi Shobayo. Nice to meet you again. Some of my students from Hot School 2002, 2022. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. So what else do we have? After the forgot password, I think, let me check the README. We've done something for the register page. We've done something for the login. We've done something for the forgot password. Then for the reset password, how does reset password looks like? How will the reset password look like? What do we usually have? Reset password is going to be the flow where you give them current where they just enter the two new password. Yeah, so it's just going to, I think basically I can still duplicate this register for that flow as well. I could duplicate this as well for that, and it's going to be reset password. Right. No, the reset is going to be where you do the reset, while the forgot password is going to be the flow where this flow here will be. So here, the one that contains, let's just do this here. The one that contains, so you can go back to, I need to route back to the home page. Just wrap this in a link. href, go back here, and we can do this. I miss VS Code a little today, so if you click on this, take me to working. All right, and so here, this is where we put, I think, the text. The same problem I was having with the dark mode and the light mode is also happening to this input. Yeah, and the light mode and the dark mode problem is happening to the input there. So I'm just going to force and it would have been very good to build theme if we build light and dark mode into this by default. Probably would think about building the light and dark mode into this, since I'm having this problem, right? Since I'm having this problem. Okay. So here, this is where we put the email and we click the reset. So here, it's where the reset process starts happening, right? While inside of the reset password, that is where, this is the page, the reset password is the page that, the reset password is the page that will /reset password. This will be the page. This is supposed to be the page where you see two passwords, which will be the current password. Like you see your current password and what do we call it now? You see password and confirm password, right? And then you would also do reset. let's just do this here. So we can do inside of this reset password flow here. This will be reset password, and we can also rename this to be rename. You can rename this to be reset password. And inside of this place, I'm going to take away the email because we don't need email at all here, right? And no. No, I am changing the wrong page. I am changing the wrong page. Let's just do this. Let's close everything that we have been working on. For reset password, take this out. And this is going to be reset your password, right? And inside of this place, you can right click to rename this. So next week, I'm just going to make the whole register, sign up, and I'm going to make it functional, right? That's what I'm going to do, right, in the next episode. Right, that's what I'm going to do in the next episode. And we're going to I'm still thinking about whether we should just use pure SQL or we should just use a ORM. I've not decided off the top of my head whether we should use a ORM, but I would have loved to use a ORM to handle all of this complexity out of the way. Override this here. So, and this is another advantage here, is that since all of these things are grouped together inside of authentication, I can have a layout for them. I can have one layout for them. So let's say I want to bring in, if I want to bring in a layout for these flows now, right? If I need to bring in a layout for these flows, I'll just put what? We'll just use right click. And I think if we do a layout, I'm not sure whether it will work, but if we do a layout.tsx here, right? And I think it should be a layout that should affect all of the page that we are working on. I think so, right? And that's an advantage in that regard, right? Because it's just right. It's already even seeing the layout. It's trying to pick the layout up, but it's not picking it up. So I need to delete this if I don't want trouble. Miriam is suggesting that we should use an ORM. Right. Okay. I mean, I have all of you here in case there's problem, if there's trouble. If I run into problems, right, we're going to debug it together, right? We should be able to debug the whole thing together. So I can take out this entire input, and this is going to be password, and I can duplicate the password to be 2, right? It's just going to be 2 stuff here, which is reset. So the other one to just be confirm password, right? And we can put confirm password on everything, and this is what autocomplete for. Don't think there's a need for autocomplete for this one here. So and we don't need all of this. We just need to submit. We don't need every other information here. We don't need them at all. And we also don't need this one anymore. And we can also wrap this inside a link, and it's going to be href / this, and this is here. So this is majorly something. I mean, just a way to start the whole thing. Go back to login. All right, I mean the login. Then we can go to the register. Then we can go to the forgot password. So majorly, at least, I have the two things I wanted to kind of like work on. The four things basically that we wanted to work on, right? We have it all working. So the next thing would be to make it functional, right? Make it working. We're able to submit the form. We've not added validation at all. I'm still going to add HTML that will help us to handle validation, right, behind the scene. So would you prefer that I push this code to a GitHub repository, or what do you think? Should I push it to GitHub so that you all can have access to the code on GitHub, right? Or because I'm not sure I've done anything GitHub in this repository, Git status. Yes, I've not done anything GitHub in that repository yet. So we can just say git a, yeah, and then we can say git. Do we have git remote? Git remote -v. There's no remote yet, so we can say git new authentication set authentication flow, right? And so we can also do gh create new repo, gh repo create, right? Gh repo create, push an existing repository, local repository to GitHub, right? Push this place, right? And the name is Beauty Forever, right? Oluwashitemi. A project built during the live streaming to learn Nextjs authentication with Hot.js and Tailwind CSS, right? There's a Tailwind CSS, and then we can make it public, hard remote, and origin. Would you like to push the current stuff? Yes. And yeah, that would have been, so we can just gh repo view, right? And yeah, we'll be able to view everything on GitHub, so you can check it out on GitHub, right? Sincerely, GitHub is too fast. GitHub is just too fast. I mean, we just pushed now, and you just have all of this volume of code. Like we just pushed now, and we have this volume of code instantly. Honestly, I don't know how the guys that worked on the back end of that GitHub are. You just need to give them their respect. It's a lot of hard work to be able to just get all of those things to be working. instantly. So at least we have these four things set up, right? So next, I think we'll be using for the possible ORMs that we might likely use is still going to be around it's going to be around Drizzle would have been the best. Drizzle, MySQL, Drizzle. So I probably would just Drizzle ORM. I think I'm going to use Drizzle. Let's just keep Drizzle, and I'm going to connect the database to my local database on my computer. So, but I'll think about a MySQL service that I'm going to use online for the one I'm going to be hosting. So we'll probably just use Drizzle for and for sending of email, right? We're going to use resend for sending of email. So by next Saturday, right, same time, right, we can all just invite somebody, bring somebody along, right? Tell somebody about the old stuff I'm trying to do here. Again, you get to learn, just see me do it live. I'm going to run into a lot of mistake, right? I'm also learning along the side, right? And but the beauty is that eventually you can also go ahead and do the same thing on your own and build something, right? That's the whole idea. And you can also ask questions, ask me to explain something, right? And I'll be willing to explain. So we still have dashboard, we still have some other UIs that we're still going to work on, right? And all. But thank you for joining. That will be all for today's episode. I have to rest. Yes, it's been an amazing I think the past 2 hours have been trying to learn one or two things regarding Next.js, Tailwind, React, and all this technology. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing you all right in the next episode, and I hope um you have a wonderful weekend. I mean, weekend is almost done, but at least get time to rest. And I'll see you Friday. Next Friday, I'm going to be doing JavaScript. The next JavaScript class is going to be very interesting because I'm going to be talking about scopes, closures, execution context, and all these technical details inside of JavaScript. So, see you next week. Bye for now.